With Abdel Fattah Adeyemi, you unlock a world of wisdom, growth, and connection. It's time to live, love, learn, and build a better world together. Be inspired. Be motivated. Edit your universe.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Once more, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon each and every one of us as we begin our talk for today. The title is The Making of a God-Fearing and Successful Family. And this lecture is reaching you from the platform of the Nigerian Muslim Council of Ireland, NMCI. As I welcome all of us, I want us to pay attention, and I will speak mostly in parables so that it's not too conventional to what we have always been hearing. So please bear with me, and you should fasten your belt as we move along. And I know that inshallah you need to be prepared for your flabbers to become gasted with what we are going to be talking about. Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declares in the Quran one verse that's very important. Allah says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Quran chapter 23 verse 1, certainly the believers have succeeded. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. I'm using that word succeeded from the title that is the topic of this talk, that is the making of a God-fearing and successful family. Successful family. Underline that, success. And that is why I'm bringing this verse. And everything we're going to be talking about today is based on just this verse. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Allah declared that certainly the believers have succeeded. This declaration is not for the idle person. It is not for those who seek shortcuts in life. It is for those who, like the farmer, commit themselves. Yes, those who commit themselves to a life of purpose and hard work. And mind you, the word aflaha or falaha is the same word that is used when Allah is describing farmer or farming in the Quran. So Allah used the word falaha to describe success. Incidentally, the etymological implication of those words is that of a farmer that is successful or a successful farmer. The language you use when a farmer has succeeded in the planting season, they use the word falaha for the farmer and falaha for the kind of success the farmer attains to at the end of the planting season. And you see in many verses of the Quran, many hadith of the Prophet will describe us as kulukum ra'in wa kulukum mas'ulun an ra'iyati. All of you are shepherds and you are all going to be questioned about your flocks. You don't know that kind of a thing. And then the Quran will say, Nisa'ukum haruthu lakum fa'tu haruthakum anna shi'tum. Your wives are like farmlands for you. Go into your farm anytime you want. Now you can see Allah now uses that aflaha, falaha for the believers. And now we are talking about God-fearing. That is where the mu'min, the believers who fear Allah, how can they make a God-fearing and a successful family? Looking at the parable of this farmer, Qad aflaha al-mu'minun, successful indeed are the believers, or successful indeed are the farmers who follow the rigors of farming. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now compares the activities of the farmer to that of a believer. So here we are comparing the activities of the farmer to that of a family. The success of the farmer as compared to the success of a family. The believer is like the farmer, because as the farmer cultivates his land, the believer cultivates his soul. Both understand that success does not come by chance, but success is the fruit of patience, the fruit of sacrifice and relentless effort. Islam is not cheap. You have to make effort. Marriage is not cheap. You have to make effort. You have to, sacrifice. Farming is not cheap. You have to make effort. So what is success really? Success. Falah and the Quranic vision of a successful family. In the language of the Quran, success is not an accident of fortune to say, this guy is lucky. No. As far as the Quran is concerned, success is not luck. It's not by luck. It's not by accident. It is not by coincidence of comfort. It's not measured by applause to say how many people clapped for you. It's not measured by possessions to say, okay, how much things do you have? And it is not measured by the smoothness of a person's path. The path might be very rough. The Quran names success with a word that carries the scent of soil and the memory of labor, hard labor. And that is where we got the word falah from. This is a word that speaks at once of the farmer who tills the land and the believer who tills the soul. It is success born out of cultivation and, slow, intentional, patient cultivation. And this kind of cultivation is anchored in the trust in Almighty Allah. And so that's why Allah announces with certainty that Qad aflaha al-mu'minun. Indeed, the believers are successful. Qad aflaha al-mu'minun. Indeed, the believers are successful. That's the first verse in Surah Al-Mu'minun, by the way, chapter 23, verse 1. So this declaration of Allah is not a description of people who merely believe in theory, but it's a description of those who shaped their lives through worship, through restraint, through mercy, and moral discipline. So Falah is not a sudden victory to say, you just suddenly become successful. No, it is the harvest of a way of living. Just as the farmer does not stumble into abundance unless you want to invade somebody else's farm, the believer does not stumble into success. It's not by accident. Both farmer and believer, they cultivate conditions in which Allah allows life to flourish. So the Quranic vision of success is rich and it is broadly layered. Let's look at some of the words that denote success alongside with the word falah. Allah also speaks of najah, that means salvation from ruin. Allah talk about najah, or salvation from ruin, or of being rescued from the fire and delivered into mercy. There are verses of the Quran that talk about that. Allah speaks also of fawz, like fakodi faza, fawz and azima. Allah talk about fawz, that the great triumph of entering Jannah and being spared from loss, or of being unfortunately thrown into fire. So the Quran talk about fawz or faz, fakodi faza, somebody who is also successful. That's another word, or let's say synonym for falah. So we have heard of najah, and here is fawz. Then Allah also speaks of barakah, a multiplying of goodness that is placed into time, a multiplying of good that is placed into effort, into wealth and relationship, a multiplication of the goodness that Allah brings into your effort, the end result of your effort that Allah has made to be successful. And Allah put this into your wealth. Also, they say you have al-barakah in your wealth. Allah put this in your relationship. Also, we say your relationship is blessed. And it's a place where small deeds carry large fruits. Allahu Akbar. That's barakah. Do you remember the Quran saying, who is going to borrow Allah, who is going to loan Allah a very beautiful loan so that Allah can multiply it for the person? That multiplication, that is the barakah we are talking about. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ said, if you do one good deed, Allah will repay you tenfold of that. That means every good deed in Islam is multiplied. The reward is multiplied through al-barakah. It is through multiplication, not give and take, not one good deed, one good reward. You know, that kind of a thing. Allah has barakatized our good deeds in Islam. And that's why one good deed, you get 10 rewards in return for that. It is inbuilt in Islam. It is part of Islam. Allahu Akbar. Then Allah speaks of tazkiyah. That is purification. And that's the success of the one who tends the soul and the person who removes what corrupts and nourishes what gives life. So that's zakah, tazkiyah. It's another way of looking at success. So how many words have we used now? We have used falah in terms of najah, in terms of fawz, that's success, in terms of barakah, in terms of tazkiyah. There's one other one. Allah also speaks of sakina, tranquility. Tranquility sent into hearts, the calm that descends upon homes that remember Allah together. And that's why Allah says, litaskunu ilayha, so that you can find peace and tranquility. In other words, another word that can denote success of a marriage is that sakina. Get it? That means you have that peace of mind. Everything just sets, everything just gels, everything just flows in a peaceful manner. That is an indication that you are successful in your marriage. So each of these words paints success not as dominance over others, but as alignment with Allah, not as control of outcomes, but as faithfulness in process. And when the Quran speaks of loss, it speaks with the same clarity. Wal asri inna li insana lafi khusri illa alladhina amanu wa amilu solihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. Did you see that now? Allah says, indeed, mankind is in the state of loss, except those who believe and do righteous deeds. That means by default, we're in loss. It's the exception that is successful. Loss in the Quranic sense is not merely material failure. It is the wasting of the soul, is the erosion of meaning, is the shrinking of the heart away from Allah. So success is not the absence of hardship, but the presence of direction. It's not the lack of storms, but the presence of roots. And so the Quranic understanding of success reshapes how we think about families. A successful family, in the language of Islam, is not the one that merely looks stable from the outside, glamorous on the social media. Everybody wish they be like that. Look at the photo shoot, on point. Everything is just gelling well for them. No, that is not the definition of success as far as the Quran is concerned when we are talking about the family. It is not defined by social performance. It is not defined by financial comfort or what we refer to as financial success. And it's not defined by public reputation. A God-fearing and successful family is one that is cultivated. That is a place where faith is planted, where character is nurtured, where mercy is irrigated, where harmful influences are removed, that is weeded, and where hearts are guarded and protected, and where growth is given time, and where outcomes are surrendered to Allah with tawakkul. It is a family that treats the home not as a stage to perform success, but as a field to cultivate the soul. And this is why the metaphor of the farmer is so fitting if we look at it very well. The farmer lives the meaning of falah with his body. His labors is that of hope. He labors in hope. He plants with knowledge. He persists through the seasons. Rainy season, dry season. Rainy season, dry season. Planting season, harvesting season. He accepts that he cannot command the rain. And he learns that storms do not negate effort. And that harvest is never owned. It is granted by Allah. You cannot guarantee a harvest. You know that after you have planted and you have done what you got to do, then you put your trust in Almighty Allah. So the believer lives this same truth with his heart. And the family, as the most intimate field of human life, is where this cultivation becomes most demanding and, of course, most beautiful. To speak of the making of a God-fearing and successful family, just like our topic says, To speak of this is to speak of a long journey of cultivation. It's not easy. The ride is not smooth. It's to accept that families are not manufactured. Families are grown. You have to grow your own family by yourself. There's no family that is ready-made, factory fitted, follow come, like we say in Nigeria. You have to cultivate it. It is to accept that families are not manufactured. You have to grow it. They are shaped by intention before action. They are shaped by inner work before outward structure. They are shaped by consistency before the spectacle that everybody will see. They are shaped by mercy before the control. They are shaped by patience before results. And they are shaped by tawakkul before the pride in what you have done. This is falah in the Quranic sense. Not the success of arrival, but the success of becoming. Not the triumph of ease, but the triumph of faithfulness. And not the perfection of outcomes, but the barakah of a path that is walked with Allah. What then is this process to this success? For every success, there's a process. And for every process, there must be a progress. So let us follow the process. And that's what I want to expatiate for us now. I've mentioned it in the summary. We're going to break them down one after the other. So still fasten your seatbelt, or is it seatbelt? Well, get ready to operate your tractors. Some farmers don't use seatbelts when they operate their tractors, but whatever it is, get your hoes and cutlasses, your watering cans, and gather your seed. Let's go to the farm now so that we go there to learn the process for a successful family and a family that is God-fearing. So number one, choosing the land. That is the foundation, the intention, and the environment. Choosing the land. Where do you want to plant your stuff? Choose the land. No farmer begins his work by scattering seeds into any random path or random patch of the ground. He walks the land first. He studies the soil. He feels the texture of the soil in his palms. He asks whether it is fertile or fatigued, whether it is poisoned or promising, whether it is soft enough to receive life or it is hardened already by neglect. A wise farmer knows that the future of the harvest is already hidden in the condition of the land itself. What you plant matters, yes, but where you plant it matters just as much. The making of a God-fearing and successful family begins the same way. Not with children. You don't start a family with children. Of course, it is from within the family that the children will come. Get it? It's not with children, not even with marriage, but with foundations. It begins with the soil of intention. That is the niyya. Then the environment of values and the unseen quality of the heart that will host the family. Are you following me now? Many people are eager to plant seeds, that is children, projects, dreams of a perfect home, a nice car to follow, to go with it. But very few people pause long enough to ask whether the land is ready to carry the weight of life. The person you want to marry, is that person ready to go through the rigors of generating the kind of seed that is going to be useful and successful for the next generation of children to come? Are you following me now? A home that is built without taqwa, that's supposed to be the foundation, is like a fertile seed that is cast upon rocky ground. No matter how fertile that seed is, that ground is going to suffocate it and kill it. It may not even be receptive to it in the first place. It will remain on that rock until a bird or some animals come to eat up the seed. The seed may sprout for a moment, but it cannot sink its roots deep. When storms come, and storms always come in marriage normally, this kind of seed will wither because it was not planted on the right land. The Prophet ﷺ taught that marriages begin not with beauty, not with wealth or with status, but with deen and character. You know, Tunkahul mar'atul arba'a, that famous hadith of the Prophet that you marry a woman for 4 qualities, and then the Prophet mentioned beauty, wealth, status, and deen. The reason why the Prophet mentioned all of these is that it's not because these qualities are decorative, although beauty is nice, you know, status is okay, wealth is, you know, welcomed, but because they are the soil itself. When taqwa is present, even weak seeds can grow strong. When taqwa is absent, even the best seeds struggle to survive. What is the land upon which you are planting your seed? Are you trying to plant upon the deen, or upon the beauty, or upon the wealth, or upon status? That one of the deen is the best soil on which you can plant the seed of your marriage. Foundations are not only about who we marry, they are about who we are becoming, because marriage is not just a noun, it's also a verb, and they go hand in hand. Many people rush to build families on unexamined wounds, on unexamined grounds, on unexamined or inherited dysfunctions, or borrowed ideas of love, or some foreign scripts that some people have written and put into their head. That's how some people look for the land. But it's very risky, because they plant into land that has never been tilled by truth, that has never been tilled by knowledge, that has never been tilled by the experiences of trials of life. I mean, soils that are hardened by pride, they are not good soils to plant upon. Soils that are hardened by anger, by unresolved trauma, or spiritual neglect. Then these people now wonder why the home feels tense, why the energy is so toxic and, you know, devastating. They wonder why love feels fragile, and they wonder why commitment feels so much fatiguing. That is why they're so tired so easily of marriage. They wonder why the children seem restless and distant. But the land was never softened. So what do you expect? The stones were never removed. What do you expect? To choose the land well is to begin with intentionality. Why do we want a family? Is it to fulfill a social expectation, or to escape loneliness, or to perform normalcy in the eyes of the people? Or is it to build a small sanctuary of worship, to build an ecosystem where Allah is remembered often and often, where mercy is practiced, and where souls are nurtured towards Jannah? Intention shapes the soil. A family built as a project of the ego will serve the ego. A family built as an act of ibadah will be sustained by the barakah of Allah. Environment too is part of the land. You know, it's not just the land itself. What of the environment? A farmer does not only look at the soil, he studies the climate. You know, he knows that certain lands are battered by harsh winds, others poisoned by polluted waters, others deprived of rain. In the same way, the spiritual climate of a home matters, and it's very important. What sounds fill its air? Is it the sound of music, or the sound of recitation of the glorious Qur'an? What images flow through its screen? Images of lectures such as this, or images of things that are haram on your screen, both your home, your phone, and your TV? What values are normalized in the conversation in your homes? And is Allah remembered in the rooms, or only remembered and mentioned during the time of crisis? Allahu Akbar. Is mercy the default language, or is Is it harshness that is the atmosphere? Are we toxic? Are we people who are emotional vampires? We drain each other of positive emotions? Homes are just like lands. You know, they absorb what surrounds them. A family planted in an environment of constant conflict, constant cynicism, constant criticism, and spiritual emptiness will always struggle to grow. It will struggle to grow hearts that are tranquil and God conscious. But a home that is irrigated with dhikri of Allah, remembrance of Allah, that is protected by boundaries, and that is warmed by rahmah, becomes fertile ground. Even when the world outside is harsh, the world inside is easy, is soft, and it is tranquil. Choosing the land apart from the environment where you are going to put your land or plant your stuff also requires humility. You see, a farmer accepts that some land needs years, Allahu Akbar, years of preparation before they can bear fruit. So likewise, some hearts need time before they can carry the responsibility of leadership in a home. The pause, is very important. And when they pause, they say, well, I'm not ready yet. To say, I'm not ready yet is not weakness, it is wisdom. So don't go pushing someone to say, marry now. Why are you not married? Every other person is married. Only you are not married. If you see somebody like that, the person is just being humble. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of wisdom for the person to look well before they leap. This time around, look well before you plant. To seek healing before seeking children is important if you got trauma. To seek maturity before demanding obedience is important, if not you become a tyrant. To seek nearness to Allah before demanding righteousness from others, this is how fertile soil is prepared. A God-fearing family does not begin with perfect people. It begins with prepared people. You want me to say that again? Not perfect people, but prepared people. Prepared hearts, hearts that are being softened by repentance, minds that are being trained by knowledge, and souls that are being oriented towards Allah. This is the land upon which families can flourish. And when the land is chosen with care, when intentions are purified, when foundations are anchored in taqwa, and when environments are cultivated with mercy, even it is then that the smallest seeds of goodness can grow into forests of barakah. Allahu Akbar. When you have taken care of all of that one, forget it. No matter how small your seed is, even if it's just one single seed that you plant into that soil, you can be rest assured that there's barakah that will come with it. And that is about the verse we quoted earlier on. Allah says, who is going to give Allah a loan? You plant one seed, and it will germinate into ears of corn. Allahu Akbar. If you read the Quran very well, you will think the whole of the Quran is all about farming. Allahu Akbar. Because Allah will keep describing good deeds as, okay, like a farmer who plants one seed of corn, and when it grows, then it grows and becomes, it develops into cobs. Each cobs have got hundreds of grain in it. This is beautiful. And Allah is using the same language to describe matters of marriage for us. This is the secret of Falah in family life. Long before the harvest of righteous children, long before the experience of peaceful marriage, and long before the achievement of a tranquil home, there was a farmer who chose his land wisely. Allahu Akbar. Long before you see this beautiful family, there was once a farmer that chose the land wisely. Either the farmer as a man or the farmer as a woman. All of us, we are all farmers in this regard. Choose the land wisely. Choose the environment where you go and plant your seeds. And once you have been able to take care of that, then many more things will fall in place. But before things start happening, you may choose a very good land. You may choose a very good environment, but without this number 2, things might still go wrong. And guess what it is? Preparing the soil. Inner work before family work. If the soil is not prepared, no matter how nice the soil is, the seed may still suffer suffocation beneath the ground. After choosing the land, the wise farmer does not rush to plant. He kneels onto the earth and begins the quiet work of preparation. He kneels down, he stoops low, he goes down, like they say, he gets down to business. And what does he do? He begins to break the hardened ground. He starts to remove buried stones. He begins to clear tangled roots and enriches the soil with what it lacks, fertilizers and what have you. This stage is slow. It is mostly unseen. It is mostly thankless. Nobody even knows that you are doing this work. They see you on your knees. The farmer is just there scratching, removing, peeling. And it's like when you want to plant flower now, your flower bed, you just be there doing those things like that. Nobody sees the root, or nobody sees the fruit of what you are doing. By the time you are doing this, no one celebrates tilled earth. When you have cultivated, nobody celebrates anything. They have not seen anything germinating from there. There's no applause for uprooted weeds. Yet every experienced farmer knows that this hidden labor determines the fate of the harvest more than the beauty of the seeds themselves. The making of a God-fearing and successful family demands this same kind of work. It's an inner work, like we say, it's an underground work. Before one raises children, one must raise oneself. Before one demands righteousness from others, one must wrestle with one's own soul. Many homes collapse under the weight of expectations placed upon children and spouses by hearts that were never prepared to carry leadership with mercy. The soil was chosen, but it was never softened. You may have chosen a very nice husband, truly, but his heart is not prepared enough for the kind of marriage that you want. His heart is not prepared enough for the kind of leadership that you require. And for the lady too, maybe her heart is not prepared enough to carry the kind of responsibility of trust, of commitment, of loyalty towards a family that is meant to be successful. So inner work is the labor of unlearning as much as learning. We carry into our marriages and parenting the sediment of our own upbringing, our unhealed wounds, our normalized dysfunctions, our inherited tears and fears, and our unexamined habits, our exhausted morality. Some of us leaned onto love that is not strong, and later in life we begin to learn about love through absence from our parents, and discipline we learned through fear, and authority we learned through harshness, and silence we learned as a coping strategy. We didn't learn from our parents any way of resolving conflict apart from keeping malice. We didn't learn from our parents any other way of resolving conflicts apart from through fight and quarrels. And many of us are carrying all of this along with us, around with us all our lives. These are stones in the soil. Left untouched, they will wound whatever grows above them. A child's heart that meets unresolved anger becomes bruised. A marriage that meets unhealed pride becomes brittle. Preparing the soil is the courage to say that what I inherited is not automatically what I will pass on to my family. So what does the farmer do? The farmer enriches depleted soil with nutrients. In the same way, the believer enriches the heart with knowledge, with humility and remembrance of Almighty Allah. Look, a heart that is starved of knowledge will raise children on confusion. Do you want me to say that again? A heart or a mind that is starved of knowledge, that is not weeded off of ignorance, will only raise children on confusion. A heart that is deprived of dhikr will build a home that is prone to anxiety. A soul that is untrained in self-accountability will demand perfection from others while excusing its own failures. The work of preparing the soil is to feed the inner life through the Qur'an, through reflection, through sincere repentance to Allah, and through companionship with people who soften rather than harden the heart. So this preparation also requires patience with yourself, so that you can eventually heal and you can eventually become better. Preparing the soil is also about surrendering arrogance. If you are still arrogant, you are not going to prepare the soil. The farmer does not argue with the land, he adapts to its reality. Likewise, inner work begins when we stop defending our flaws and when we start working on them. When we replace that's just how I am, when we replace it with this is what I need to heal. Some people will be like, well, that's who I am. I know I can be obstinate. I know I can be stubborn, but that's how I am. No, you got to work on yourself. There's nothing like, well, I don't have time to sacrifice my life for somebody who is not going to show up. Instead of saying that one, why don't you work on yourself and realize that it's because you have problem in cooperating with people. It's because you are very selfish, you are so self-centered, you only care about yourself, about your interests, about your needs, about your wants, about your requirements, and about your stupidity. You only care about yourself. Look, admit that you are stubborn and you are selfish. It's not that people abandon you. It's because people don't have time for your rubbish. It's because people don't have time for your emotional basket. That no matter how much they satisfy you emotionally, you are never satisfied. This is how to prepare the soil. Work on yourself now. Work on yourself. You got issues. You got trauma. You don't know what it is to cooperate with people. And you don't understand nada about what it means to sacrifice. You are not ready to sacrifice for anyone. So work on yourself. You have to prepare yourself if you want anything good to grow in your life by the time you get married. A God-fearing family is not built by perfect parents. It is built by repenting parents. That's another point we need to know. By learning parents, by softening parents, people who are willing to be tilled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before they attempt to cultivate others. Cultivate yourselves first. Husband and wife, before children start coming, cultivate yourselves. What are we doing that can soften the ground for our children when they eventually come? To learn taqwa, to do adhkar, to be honest people, to be caring people, to be loving people, to be merciful to one another. What can we do to soften ourselves before these children come, so that when children start coming, they will not catch us shouting on one another. They will not meet us still keeping malice with each other. They will not meet us being confused as parents who don't know what instructions to give. Father will give instruction A, mother will counter it with instruction B. No, let us resolve all that before children start coming. That's part of what I mean by saying that we should prepare the ground, prepare the place where the children will come. And this is how Falah begins in families, not with outward performance only, but with inward transformation as a couple. Number 3 process to having a God-fearing and successful marriage, as we are comparing to that of a farmer, is selecting the seeds. Selecting the seeds. Remember, we talked about choosing the land and the environment where the land will be, and then we talked about preparing the land, letting the flower bed be prepared for roses to grow. And if it is yam you want to plant, making the kind of mounds that the yam can grow in without being exposed. You get what I'm trying to say? Now, this third one is selecting the seeds. What values are being planted? After the land is chosen and the soil is prepared, the farmer pauses before the seeds in his hands. He looks at the seeds. He does not plant anything just like that at random. He selects carefully the kind of seeds he wants to plant. He knows that every seed carries a destiny within it. He knows that the shape of the plant is determined by the seed. He knows that the taste of the fruit is determined by the seed. He knows that the strength of the yield is also determined by the kind of seed you are planting. A poor seed in good soil may sprout, but it will never become a great harvest. The quality of what is planted determines the quality of what will one day be gathered. The making of a God-fearing and successful family is shaped in the same way by the seeds of values that are planted daily into our hearts. Children do not just grow from instructions alone. They grow from what they absorb from their parents. Marriages do not mature from speeches about love. From all of this, I love you, I would rather live with you. No, I would rather die with you than live without you kind of thing. They mature from the small, repeated seeds of how love is practiced. Every word spoken in the home is a seed that we are planting. Every reaction to conflict is a seed that we are planting. Every moment of patience, every outburst of anger, every choice of honesty over convenience, these are the seeds that sink into the soil of the family's soul and they begin to grow. And like it is said, you can only harvest what you plant. If you plant the seed of criticism, you are going to meet the results. The fruit of criticism, you are going to find it with your spouse. Some seeds are planted intentionally. That is, we teach our children to say Bismillah. We encourage them to pray. We speak about kindness. We tell them stories of prophets. We talk about modesty. We discuss about gratitude and trust in Almighty Allah. These are conscious seeds of Iman. Conscious seeds of Iman and Adab. But many seeds are planted unconsciously. You can't always be sure of these seeds you are planting unless you are intentional about them. The tone we use when we are tired, the kind of person we become when we're exhausted. You become sometimes irritated. You become so irritated. You start shouting and screaming as if the whole house is on fire. The way we speak about others behind closed doors, these are all seeds. The shortcuts we take with truth, the denial of the truth, even when people know that we are lying. The way we treat our spouse when no one is watching. Children learn far more from what is modeled than from what is commanded. The home is a field where imitation grows faster than instruction. However, a wise farmer does not mix strong seeds with diseased ones. In the same way, a wise family does not confuse values. Islamic values or Western values or traditional values or cultural values or valueless values. When a home teaches prayer but models hypocrisy, it plants contradictory seeds. When it speaks about mercy but practices cruelty, it plants confusion. When it praises honesty but rewards clever lying, it plants distrust. Conflicting seeds grow into tangled plants. The heart of a child becomes a battlefield of mixed messages, unsure which values are real and which are mere performative, lie, and hypocrisy of parents. The most powerful seeds are often the smallest. A gentle apology teaches humility more deeply than 100 lectures about character. A parent lowering their voice teaches emotional regulation and emotional maturity more effectively than any sermon on anger, than any hadith about anger. La tagdob, la tagdob. A spouse choosing patience in a heated moment of argument plants the seed of safety in the heart of the other people in that family. You know, these seeds are quiet. They don't talk. They don't shout. You are not even noticing them because they do not announce themselves. but over time, they grow into forests of trust, security, and moral clarity for the children. There are also seeds that we never intended to plant. This one just grow on their own, but they will still take their root whether we like it or not. Seeds of fear, when discipline is harsh and unpredictable. Seeds of shame, when mistakes are met with humiliation. Seeds of emotional distance, when affection is rare and conditional. These are seeds that we plant without realizing it. These seeds grow quickly in fertile soil. You already prepared your soil. And the soil doesn't know how to distinguish between good seeds and bad seeds. Everything you plant will grow for you there. These seeds grow quickly, and a single season of neglect can plant a lifetime of insecurity, a very big tree of fear. This is why awareness is part of taqwa in the family. To be conscious of what is entering the ground of the heart through our behaviors and through our utterances. The farmer also understands that seeds must be suited to the land and the season. Some seeds flourish in certain climates, other seeds die if planted too early or too late. In the same way, values must be planted with wisdom. If you are going to discipline a child, let it be at the right time and with wisdom. If you are going to correct your spouse, not in public, not to shame them, but it may be the truth you have said, it may be the right thing you have done, but you have chosen a wrong time to do it. Allahu Akbar. The same thing with children. Children need honesty taught with gentleness, not with brutality. To say, I have to discipline you now. I don't want you to be spoiled the way my parents would spoil people. Those kind of things. Discipline must be planted alongside with mercy. Responsibility must be sown with reassurance that this thing you are doing is good and Allah will reward you for it. Say it to your children like that. For you being obedient to me, you are earning Allah's reward and Allah's mercy. Even good values, when planted without wisdom, can harm rather than heal. The seed is good, but the timing and method are wrong. And yet, even the best seeds will not grow unless they are planted consistently. A farmer who scatters seeds once and disappears should expect no harvest at the end of it all. Values become character only when they are repeated, when they are reinforced, and when they are, applied in daily life. The harvest we admire in families, the calm hearts, the God-conscious choices, the gentle manners, all of these are the visible outcome of many years of careful planting. And this is the secret of Falah in the home, to be successful in the home. The future is already present in the seeds that you are choosing today. Take note of that. Then the fourth process for this is knowing the season, just like we mentioned earlier on. Wisdom of timing and stages. There's a time to prepare the soil, there's a time to plant, and there's a time to water. A time to protect the tender shoots from harsh weather and from harsh winds, and a time to harvest. The farmer who sows in winter or harvests in spring is not hardworking. He is simply out of sync with reality. The failure is not in the effort, but the failure can be in the timing. In other words, if you're a wise farmer, you should know that young plants are fragile. You should shield them from harsh winds. Know the time you are going to plant them. Plant them in a time when there will be no excessive sunlight that will burn them, or a place or in a way where they will be suffocated under trampling feet. Don't plant them at the pathway of people. Plant them in safe places where they can grow and thrive. In the same way, young hearts need gentleness more than judgment. Early stages of faith require encouragement more than criticism. The believer who is just learning to pray does not need contempt for missed prayers. They need warmth that makes returning to Allah to feel safe. Tender shoots grow crooked if beaten by storms too early, and the same way with the heart. So be careful. Be careful. There are seasons with everything, not everything can work at the time that you're expecting them to work. So take note, just the same way a farmer knows the season for planting yam, he knows the season for planting corn. He knows the season for not planting at all. And if he wants his trees to bear fruit, he knows when to expect the fruits to come. So he waits and he is cautious and he is patient. Allahu Akbar. Every marriage has their season. I want us to learn this also before I leave that topic. Every marriage has their season. There is a season of building familiarity where patience is needed for differences. You may not be the same people. You may not behave in the same way. You may not have the same upbringing, but you got to understand that it takes time. You know, patience is needed to settle these differences that we have. There's a season of testing where conflicts surface and expectations are negotiated. There's a season of deepening companionship where love becomes quieter but stronger. We may not be expressing love every time throughout the seasons of our marital life. There are seasons where we just like keep quiet because we don't even know what to say. There are seasons where we don't need to argue. We just want to rest. There are seasons where no matter what you say to me, I can't even understand what you are talking about. So rather than keep fighting and fighting, no, let's just chill. Let us just rest. There are seasons to rest sometimes. To demand from one season what belongs to another season is to strain the soil of the relationship. Before a woman is pregnant, she is slim and very active with household chores and attending to her husband. Now that she's pregnant, it's another season. You can't expect the same thing from her. Before children start coming, it's one season where you can go anywhere you want, husband and wife. Overnight, you can just decide you are traveling tomorrow. But now that children are here, look, madam, if you like complain from now till tomorrow that your husband doesn't take you out like before, take you out to where? With 4 children and with little babies in your hand? Where do you want to go to? Before you start packing all the paraphernalia of children, baby carrier, baby walker, baby food, baby everything. How are you going to cope? How are you going to survive? Why don't you just understand that this is just the season where you are not able to do lovey-dovey like you normally do? You want to have nice time as husband and wife, but look at your baby. Your baby wants to sleep in between both of you in the bed. And no matter how much of privacy you want for each other, when the action is about to begin, that's when your baby will wake up. As if you start looking at that baby with bad eyes. Please don't look at the baby with bad eyes. It's just the season. You can't have smooth sleep anymore if you have a baby with you as a woman. Even as a man, they'll wake you up in the night sometimes with the cry. And you have to assist in changing diapers sometimes. I want the older couples, they understand this thing I'm saying very well. There are seasons to everything. So farmers understand. Whenever some seasons come, they understand that yes, even this season shall pass. Some frustrations in marriage come from wanting the fruits of maturity in the season of planting. Sometimes your children are still small, they are going to school. You may not have enough finances to throw around to be buying gifts for each other. So I'm sorry for you if your own love language is gift and gift. Nobody is going to give you any gift for the next years as your children are in school and your husband is struggling to ensure that their fees are paid and that feeds are provided. The Quranic rhythm of Tarbiyah itself honors seasons. Allah did not reveal the Quran in one moment. It descended gradually to shape our hearts in stages. This divine pedagogy teaches that transformation is layered, not instantaneous. So a God-fearing family grows the same way, layer upon layer of learning, mistake upon mistake of return, season upon season of refinement. Righteousness forced prematurely will break. Righteousness nurtured gradually becomes resilient. I want us to all understand this. This is how Falah works. And now let's go to another one, number 5. The daily tilling. What do I mean by that? Consistency over occasional effort. You just have to be consistent. Marriage is work. You cannot just go home and rest. There's no break time in marriage. Madam, you cannot pack your load and go to your family and say, I'm on break. No, nobody takes break from marriage. And Mr. Husband, you can't say, okay, look, I'm on leave. They say you're on leave for what? Say, I'm on leave for being a husband. For where? Husband till you die. You'll be there, husband, till you drop dead. What I'm trying to say is that a farmer does not build a thriving farm through a occasional burst of enthusiasm. It does not till the soil once in a while. It does not water the crops only when it feels inspired. It doesn't show up passionately at harvest time while neglecting the days in between. Allahu Akbar. The land does not respond to drama. Brothers and sisters, listen to this attentively. Your farmland does not respond to drama. It responds to consistency. Marriages don't thrive on drama that you ask for each other. You fight today, you quarrel tomorrow, demand for your right, and insist on certain things. Look, marriages don't survive on the drama that we create. Who are you chatting with? Who is on your phone? Who are you talking to? Look, all of those are drama. Both of you should understand that marriage is work. And you've got to be serious about it. It is shaped by the regularity of daily care, the steady turning of soil, the faithful watering of roots, the regular removal of what hinders the growth of your plant. The farmer's true greatness is not in grand gestures, but in his refusal to abandon the field on ordinary days. A farmer shows up. A farmer shows up. A farmer is always there to take care of his farm. And the same way in your home, you got to show up. Before you have any harvest in your marriage, you have to show up. And number 6, let me begin to rush now so that I don't bore you down. Watering with mercy, with love, and nurturing with care. Spiritual care and what have you. This is very, very important. No matter how fertile the land, no matter how carefully the seeds are chosen, a farm will wither without water. The farmer may prepare the soil with skill. He can plant with wisdom. But if the rains do not come and the fields are not watered, the crops will not grow. They will brittle. Then they will become weak and they become dried up and they will die. So every marriage also needs watering with goodness and with care, with emotional and spiritual watering. They need all of these things. This watering tells your heart, you are safe here. I'm here for you. I got your back. And there's also the watering of the dua. Your husband may not be there, but constantly you water your marriage with dua for Allah's mercy. That Allah should let both of you be in sync with His rahmah. That Allah should, turn the heart of both of you towards each other and not against each other. Water also requires discernment. Know the amount of water to pour depending on the kind of seed you are trying to grow. And number 7, the weeding of the farm, removing harmful influences. Every farmer knows that weeds do not ask for permission. They appear quietly and they grow aggressively and they compete ruthlessly with the crops for light, for water, and nutrients. They do not look for your approval. And because of that, they don't even look dangerous at first. Some even resemble useful plants in their early stages. But left unchecked, they spread, they entangle your roots, and slowly they suffocate what was carefully planted. So be ready to weed. Know the time to weed, and know that you should weed respectfully and carefully so that you don't remove your plant alongside with the weed. Allahu Akbar. May Allah make it easy for us. Then number, how many? Yes, let's say number 8. Protecting the crops. Guarding against fitna of shaitan. Look, the Prophet said, Kulukum ra'in wa kulukum mas'ulun an ra'iyati. You are all farmers and you are all shepherds. You are going to be asked about your flocks. So if you don't protect what you have, it is going to be destroyed. Stray animals will come in and devour everything that you had planted carefully. The farmer does not only plant, water, and weeds, he also guards his farm. He builds fences. He watches the boundaries of his land. He stays alert to threats that come not from the soil, but from outside, from pests and what have you, from animals that could come and trample, from storms that arrive without warning. The farmer understands that a thriving field attracts danger. The healthier the crop, the more they are noticed by even rodents and by insects. Protection is not paranoia. It is the natural responsibility of love. Protect your home, protect your families from the fitna of the social media, from the intrusion of outsiders in form of third parties. The same way a farmer will protect the crops, protect the farm, make sure you protect yours too. Protect your children. Arm them. Arm them with adhkar and cover your family with the grace of Almighty Allah in form of dua and tawakkul in Almighty Allah. A farmer knows that he cannot control the weather, but he can prepare for storms. In the same way, families cannot eliminate fitna from the outside world, but they can cultivate resilience within the home. You understand what I mean? Teaching children discernment, building emotional safety, that so that secrets do not become hiding places for shaitan. You have to create a culture where mistakes are met with guidance, not exile, where storms will come and we know they will surely come. What matters is whether the roots are deep enough to hold on so that they don't get destroyed by these storms. So protect your farm. The way a farmer protects his farm, protect your family. Number 9, be patient with the growth. Things grow slowly now. The farmer knows that growth is really long. Sometimes it can even be boring. It can be long before it is visible. After planting, the field looks empty for a while as if nobody worked on it. The soil lies quiet, almost indifferent to the labor that is poured into it. To the impatient eye, it's as if nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, Allah Akbar, beneath the surface, the roots are forming. The cells are dividing. Life is unfolding silently. The farmer who loses patience with this hidden stage may abandon the field too early. He may even dig up the seeds to check on them to see whether they are sprouting or not. Or he can even overwork the soil in frustration. In doing so, he harms what he cannot yet see. But let us understand that the making of a God-fearing and successful family requires the same patience and invisible growth. People will not see your efforts as husband and wife now, but let your children grow and they start doing well. It's then that everybody will appreciate all the sacrifices that you have put into your farm. So this is the long breath of Falah in family life. To keep cultivating when the field looks empty. To keep nurturing when growth is hidden. To keep believing when results are slow. Allahu Akbar. Results may be slow. Nobody sees your effort, husband and wife. Forbearing with each other, forgiving one another, enduring one another, tolerating each other. Nobody sees any of these things until after a while when you see that everything eventually grows up to become successful. For families do not grow in moments, they grow in seasons, and seasons are written by Almighty Allah. Please permit me to conclude in these following words. You know, when a farmer stands at the edge of his field, at the end of a long season, he does not see only crops. He sees time made visible. He sees patience that did not quit when the soil looked empty. He sees effort that returned day after day when no one was watching. He sees prayers that were whispered into the dust while planting. Oh Allah, let this do well. Let this work well. Let this come out successful. You see, the harvest before him is not merely produce. It is the story of a relationship between human striving and divine generosity. So it is with the making of a God-fearing and successful family. When a home begins to carry tranquility, when hearts begin to soften towards Allah, when children grow with adab and everybody wish that their children were like yours. Allahu Akbar. When spouses learn to return to mercy after conflict, when we are witnessing what Allah has promised those who patiently persevere, what is actually happening is not perfection. What we are witnessing is the fruit of cultivation. We are seeing the fruit of foundation that is laid with intention. And all of these things are signs of a family that is growing in Falah. A God-fearing family then is not the one that never struggles. It's the one that struggles with Allah by their sides. It's not to deny the presence of weeds. It is to remove the weeds. A successful family that is God-fearing does not pretend that storms do not come, but it strengthens the roots. It does not demand instant fruit. It commits to season of growth. It does not claim ownership of outcomes. It returns the harvest to the one who sent the rain in the first place. Maybe the greatest sign of success in a family is not that everything turned out as planned, sometimes, but that the heart within the home learn to turn back to Allah again and again. When they make mistakes, they try to perfect themselves. And when they are imperfect, they try to get real. That after all, we are humans. When seasons were harsh, they did not curse the land. When blessings came, they did not forget the giver. That's Allah. This is the maturity of Falah, to live in effort without arrogance, to wait without despair, to receive Allah's rahmah without sense of entitlement, understanding that this is a grace from Almighty Allah. And by the time we harvest, the farmer leaves the field at sunset with hands tired but with heart that is steady. The believer lives the season of family life with scars of effort. Yes, there will be scars, but also with the assurance that nothing sincere was wasted. And when the final harvest is gathered on a day, when all hidden seeds are brought to light, the true success will not be measured by how impressive the field looked to people, but by how faithfully it was cultivated for the sake of Almighty Allah. Brothers and sisters in Islam, this is the truth that the Quran teaches us about success. That Falah is not a destination we reach. It's a way of walking. It's a way of planting with intention. It's a way of laboring with sincerity, and a way of returning every harvest in gratitude to Almighty Allah. So look at this vis-a-vis your marriage, and look at yourself as this farmer we are talking about. And whatever thing this farmer did to achieve a God-fearing and successful harvest at the end of it all, that is what you should try to do also. Qad aflaha al-mu'minun. Successful indeed are the believers. May Almighty Allah grant us the success that we require. My name is Abdul Fattah Adeyemi. Thank you for being farmers alongside with me today. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Welcome to a place where we celebrate your greatness and nurture your path to even greater accomplishments. Acquire Abdul Fattah Adeyemi's soul-lifting handmade masterpieces and experience the divine beauty of Islamic artistry. Join the community. Transform your life. Edit your universe.